Chairman Roger Christensen online. He's home after a recent surgery recovering, so we appreciate him joining with us today. Roger, do you want me to conduct it from here, or would you like to?
Well, it's probably easier if you do.
Okay, will do. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started with Road and Bridge then. Where would you like to start?
Well, I think there's a couple people from the public here that we probably want to do first, and then
Okay.
there's people here from ITD and Parcel Engineering that want to talk to us about a project, but
Okay,
I'm not sure.
so what members of the public do we have here? We'll start with you then.
Okay,
Ma'am, would you give us your name and
Kathy Vernon. I live out on the west side of town.
You could give us your address for the record.
I'm sorry,
Could you give us your address for the record?
145 North Cary Lane, 83402.
Okay.
My concern, my reason for coming is Broadway First North and the River Bend project that is out to the west and the use of that road. I live right on that road. It borders my property. And before River Bend was built, it was just rural traffic. You'd have an occasional teenager, or I'll call them teenagers, racing on that road because it's a straight shot with that blind hill, and I thought that was kind of fun. Is everyone familiar with that road?
yeah, I live out near that area as well.
So my first question is the River Bend project. I did not remember getting a area of impact invite to any kind of, we're gonna approve, or we want to approve this thing out there. Do you have any concerns as a resident that's going to be impacted by what happens out there? Did that happen, or was that not something that needed to happen?
My understanding is it was an allowed use in an ag zone, and so there wasn't ever a public hearing to allow that. That meat packing is an approved use already for that zone, so he had the right. All he had to do was get the building permits, but there was no public hearing required for that.
Okay. So the residents then didn't have an opportunity to say how many people are going to be employed, how many people are going to be using this road, how is Road and Bridge going to deal with this road now that is really pretty dangerous. It's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, I believe, has that blind hill, has access in a number of areas. And now we're getting this heavy traffic, semi-traffic, and much more traffic from River Bend over off of 55th. It's got processing, so they got something they got going on over there. And I understand there's something to the south off of 65th. So now, do we know how many employees they plan to have out there?
Well, do we know that information?
No, we don't know that yet.
And so if they've got 35 employees, it's probably not going to be a big deal. If they have 350 employees, it's going to be a big deal because it's inconvenient for a driver to go up to 65th, make a left, and then take a right on West Broadway. It's more convenient to take that First North right off 55th and just
Straight through.
and just speed limit it out to the end. I can no longer walk that road because of the traffic and the heavy traffic and the speed. There are kids who bike on that road. I'm very concerned if something isn't done with relationship to the heavy traffic and heavy unexpected traffic on that road, there's going to be something happen. And I don't know if there's anything as a resident that I can do because it is no longer just residential traffic.
And you got any concerns with that?
So I've talked with her about this and talked to her about the intersection up there at 65th West that we're working with Riverbend and Connect Engineering about coming up with a design for that intersection. We were hoping, and the hope is that with a better intersection there, it will make more of the truck traffic go up to the Arco Highway on 65th West rather than go through the residential area. But there's no way to force that to happen.
Ma'am, are you comfortable standing? You're welcome to sit.
Oh, no, I am.
You're
I
okay,
am.
okay.
I don't like just standing behind
No,
you. That makes me
fine. I was
uncomfortable.
So is there, can we put truck traffic signs to help direct them, or I know it's their option, but.
So truck traffic signs encourage, but it's still a public road.
Right.
And so forcing somebody to not go down that road is something that I'm not aware of a way to actually enforce.
Oh, if you put in a under capacity bridge that has weight limits that doesn't allow the trucks, then you could say no truck traffic.
Until they drive over the bridge and it collapses.
And then that's
And then
their
the road
fault.
closed.
So,
But yeah,
no, yeah, I see that problem.
How would we be able to find out what the projected employee load on that? Just regular traffic. The load on that road is gonna be, if the encouragement is to take the semis on to 65th.
so when it comes to employees, I'm not, it's more a function of what the capacity is out there and what they're trying to do. But as far as after it gets in operation, we can do a traffic count. But that traffic count is kind of after the fact, and we don't have before the fact to try to see the difference.
So as a resident, where would I go to, who would have that information? Riverbend would have it, but they,
I can work on finding the number of employees for you.
thank you, I appreciate that.
This,
So,
this is Austin Black. I don't know if you guys have spoke.
Nice to
He's
meet
our
you, too.
planning and zoning
Yeah.
administrator.
oh, thank you, Austin.
Yeah,
he's
so
he's the one I
we
told
work
you to
with them on
contact.
the project, so I'll ask them about number of employees.
And so now you've got that 50-mile-an-hour road, that blind hill at the top, that,
And
you know, there's
it's-
enough space, but it's still pretty blinded. I can't bring myself to go 50 miles an hour over that.
over the crest of it. So the road itself truly, for what it's designed for a 50-mile-an-hour road, there's not a sight distance issue. But it's not as comfortable as it used to be, because it used to be a very low volume road.
So now if the volume is increased on that road, and we see that the volume is increased, is there an opportunity at that point to see if this is becoming a problem because of what was approved at the end of this road?
I don't, unless it comes to a level of service issue with the intersection or something like that, the capacity of the roadway itself to handle more traffic is way under capacity. I mean, you look at a lot of the other roads we have that are 2-lane county roads, handle substantially more traffic than is on that portion.
But there, excuse me, but there is a traffic safety committee that could look at the speed limit, right? I mean,
Well,
if there-
so if there's a request from residents to look at the speed, yeah, that we do a speed count or a traffic count and look at it, but then we base it off the 85th percentile of those who are going, which most of the time does not substantiate lowering the speed limit.
that would be an option for you in the future, when, you know, when they start, you know, having business out there, is for you to put in that request so that they can do that study.
But I
So
think,
there's a form on the Bonneville County website under Road and Bridge. It's called a traffic change request form. And if you fill that out, we can start the study and we can run it through the Transportation Safety Committee. And then that recommendation will come to the commissioners.
so I think what you explained to me is if 85% of the people are going out to Riverbend and they're traveling 50 miles an hour to get there, because
That's
that
what
road
it
is
should
50
be
miles an hour,
Posted, yeah.
then the resident who wants it lowered because you can see, the resident can see the danger in the interference, that resident would probably not have a chance that it would be lowered.
That would be following the national guidelines to not lower the speed limit, yes.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for that information. That will be helpful if we know.
And I was just I was just gonna say too, I think it'll be interesting to see over time how the traffic changes, because a lot of the traffic you're getting out to the facility right now is heavy truck traffic for the construction, and it's quite a construction project, as I'm sure you've seen, so there are a lot of trucks going in and out of there. But once it's operational, I think the dynamic of that traffic, it will probably still have some trucks, but I think it will change a little bit from what it is now as well.
I
So,
can really
Especially if
understand.
we improve that intersection of 65th West and make it.
Well, I believe that the Riverbend is interested in being a good neighbor. They've done a tremendous amount to make this comfortable and easy. And we'll encourage their folks to use that route from 26 in as opposed to going through. I mean, I don't think you're gonna find opposition to this. It's figuring out, I raised my kids on a street that was a quiet street right until they put an elementary school with no other exits back in buried in the neighborhood. And all of a sudden we had all kinds of traffic and going way too fast. And they tried a number of things. So I can tell you a whole bunch of things that you might go to Lance and say, well, can you do this and can you do that? And I can tell you those don't work because our neighborhood pushed the issue and tried most of those. But this is something we will pay attention to because the whole process is one that we're paying attention to. Commissioner Reed has a look at it probably every other day, at least once a week, what's going on there.
Well, and I think you, in your conversations with the developer, you can encourage them, you know, in that traffic pattern, maybe that can be helpful.
Well, that will be helpful, and I can understand the construction part, you know something's going on, and it's not gonna last forever. But then when you see the Riverbend stock trucks coming from this facility over here off of 55th or whatever that is, coming through that neighborhood, because it's just so much easier than going down, and it's more gas. It's troublesome. So I can understand this. So I guess we'll just kind of do a wait and see. The information that you'll get for me, I will really appreciate. Maybe the number has been inflated by nervousness and it's not gonna be a big deal.
It's
It'll all be
not,
automated.
it's not the 8,000 employees.
It's all gonna be robots. It's only-
They'd have to put in housing for more than about.
I don't want that
Yeah.
either. So, you know, let's kind
I
of
would like to thank
That
you.
was my complaint.
I would like to thank you for your attitude and your approach, coming and presenting this and requesting this information. It certainly invites good working relationship with all of the entities that are involved.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you letting me voice my concerns and hopefully it won't be a big concern as we move on and I'll appreciate your input. Thank you.
Thank
all.
you.
thank you.
Good chatting.
Do we have other members of the public that an issue, you're, come on up if you'd like to say you're welcome to come and sit or.
I was here last week, Andy Snyder.
Oh, yeah.
5561 Versa, since you guys made a decision on the power.
That is on the agenda for a finding of fact.
Yeah, we will get to that today
So when will I know?
at the end of this meeting.
You guys send me a letter or something, or shall I come back to you?
So with the findings of fact, they have to get signed by the commissioners and then the commissioner secretaries usually let the petitioner know what the result was.
So yeah, you should get something just in the next few days
Okay, that's what I
on
want
the
to find
decision
out.
we make today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Mhm.
Have her contact. If you send that to me. Thank you.
I think I have her phone number.
Okay, I think you guys are next. I'm not sure who wants to start. You can come up and surround us on the table here
Yeah.
if you want.
Hey, Austin,
Yes.
could I get you to do me a favor and close those blinds behind you? You have such a glow about you that I can't see you.
That better?
There's just one page, just a single copy there.
I don't know. know. I don't know how long you're hoping to take, but there is another person on the Zoom meeting. I just saw that.
Oh, we do have one other member of the public on Zoom, Gloria Valenti. Is there anything you wanted to address with us before we continue with the meeting?
She's neat.
There, now you're unmuted and we can hear you, I think, if there's something you needed before we continue.
I discussed most of it yesterday, with, who was it, Brian?
Brian.
Bromwell?
David. Ron.
Oh,
David.
Dave. Okay,
This is about the noise ordinance and the truck issues out on 35th West, I believe.
okay.
No, it's 65th,
65th South.
65th. Yeah,
So what-
and, South 15th West.
So what was the issue, David? What did you find on that?
They had called in on a Zoom meeting on a previous one, asking for Jake brake signs to be put up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember when we talked about that. Yeah,
And the city does have noise ordinance, county does not.
okay.
So I gave Gloria the number to City of Idaho Falls Street Superintendent.
Okay,
to see if they have any.
I did call him and he said he would look into it. That's as much information I got.
okay. Well, hopefully he'll get back to you with the information you need there. So they do have some enforcement opportunity then, because it is an ordinance there. Is that correct?
Right.
They would be the ones that would have the ability to enforce that.
And they may have some feedback that it's outside of the city limits where it's a city code and a city ordinance. Where the Valentis live is in the county. And so I don't know what you're gonna find out from the city in the
The
past.
road, excuse me, the road from the Butte Canal Bridge, that's just past our property. We actually own a section of that. We own like 4.0 acres. And he said that section of the road to the intersection of 65th and South 15th is city.
Okay, well, yeah, let us know how that goes and when you hear back from them.
So there's absolutely nothing that can be done about all these truckers on the county roads. Not stopping at the intersection, going through the intersection. I saw two of them the other day making their big wide turns, blocking other traffic, making traffic move back so they can get their trucks around the corner. It's insane. It's insane.
If they are breaking the stop signs or rolling
They are.
through and it's a sheriff county enforcement type of issue, and there can be maybe some selected enforcement. As far as the rest, the turning wide, most of the time, in order to make the curves on some of these corners, that's what the trucks have to do.
Yeah, when the intersection is so narrow and the roads are so narrow.
Yeah. We would be glad to pass the information on to our sheriff. We'll give them your address and that intersection, and we will pass that information along to him. And so that they can be aware of it.
Right.
Question I have is, isn't that intersection annexed into the city?
I think the intersection itself has been.
I don't know that for a fact. No one has informed us.
Because that
We
might
can-
be an issue to reach out to the city on, and we've had discussions with them on the impacts that they create with those subdivisions and everything, and see if they'd get somebody out there to help us enforce it.
Well, I can tell you there's a lot more truck traffic because 9th Street, what is it? West, what, I can't remember. It's 9th Street. It's just off of 65th. It's just not even like a quarter of a mile from our house, from the intersection of South 15th West and 65th going east. They are now working on putting that road through 9th Street, all the way through to 81st. And there is an abundance of traffic.
Yeah. The intersection there at 9th has not been annexed, nor at 12th, nor at Da Vinci is actually a city road, but that is further down past where the LDS church is on 65th South.
Right, that's just almost kind of in back of our house, east of our house, Da Vinci.
But I don't believe any of those intersections have been annexed as of yet.
I don't think so, but we talked to Meltdown Asphalt gentleman, day before yesterday. He was here because he was pretty upset with all the truckers coming through there, and he said it's extremely dangerous, coming out that intersection because it's right on a hill and it's right across from the road Fox Run that goes into Park Place. He said it's horrible.
And Fox Run also, there's a small stretch there that is county residents along a county road that attaches to a city subdivision and a city road.
Yeah, there's just too much variety.
Yeah. Well, we'll pass that information along to the sheriff.
Okay, we've tried to get them to come out here, but they told us that there's only 2 police officers in this area, and one is at night, one is in the daytime, and there's just too much area to patrol. That's what we were told.
Okay, well, we'll make sure to weigh in on it, encourage them to watch that a little bit.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we have one more member of the public. Can you wait until we complete some of this, or?
Well, I may have missed what's on the agenda.
Or Amy, do you need something sooner?
I'm here as a citizen.
Okay, okay,
Who's on 45th? Did you already talk about it?
no,
Okay.
all right. Is that on the agenda?
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay,
but it depends on how long it'll take.
let us get done with this,
No, I thought it was already on the
and then we'll get to you. All right, where are we on this then? We'll start over.
Thank you. Kelly Hopes with Forex Engineers here with ITD District 6. And we just wanted to come, first of all, and to update you on the intersection US 26 Hit Road project. And we came to you back in December and gave you an update as to where the project was and asked questions about your thoughts, opinions, especially with the width of the right of way and the intent of the drainage and the approach that we were coming. We wanted to get your input, and we did, and appreciate that. And then we're just coming back to give you an up-to-date status of where the project is. So what we have before you is the exhibit that was actually presented and shown at a public hearing. And that hearing was about 3 weeks ago, held at Bonneville High School, at which time we showed what the preferred alternative was. The environmental document, the categorical exclusion, is in for review and will be submitted here soon. But preliminary design has been completed, and essentially what you're seeing now before you is the preliminary design for the project. We did have the hearing. There are significant impacts to to private properties. We visited with them and talked with the landowners. Most of them, well, all of them have concerns as far as where that goes, but all of them agree that the roadway is very busy and something needs to be done. And that being said, the hearing testimony is going to be included in the environmental document. And we're just at that stage where moving from preliminary design to final design. So what you're seeing before you is that up to date? It's an overview plan of where we stand with the project as it is. A lot of the comments that we received from a lot of the people were concerns of how congested currently is, and then when and what the plan is for how quickly it can move forward, and then to what extent. A lot of the comments were concerns about how far reaching some of the congestion was. Some of them expressed concerns all the way from US 26 all the way north to US 20 and on Hit Road. And that was just bringing you up to speed, just giving you the overall outcomes of what the public hearing was, what the public concerns were as they brought that up, and really here to collaborate and keep you informed of what the process
So
is.
remind me, as far as right-of-way access, is that county or are you doing all that, or?
The transportation department will be doing the purchasing, right?
Okay, so this is all state project.
What you see here is all a state project,
Okay.
although the county has certainly participated in the public meetings and concepts and. So,
Current.
That's the most
Current
current version right there. That's one we're moving forward.
Boy, it really takes those properties there on that east side, doesn't it?
It does,
It-
yes.
But surprisingly, a lot of the property owners said, hey, this is turning more commercial anyway. We prefer to have you buy us out on that.
Yeah.
Even some commercial businesses see the need for it.
Yeah.
They're on board. We haven't come across anyone that stressed that we're just, no, we're not gonna accept this. They understand the impact and what's the impact of it. They also understand the need for a project.
Does that relocate? Is that a Amherst station there on the corner, right?
No, Andrews is
Dad's?
across the road.
Oh, okay.
Dad's is the one that's,
It's Hall.
it's on the west side.
Yeah. this one
It's,
here.
yeah, Logan and Brad Hall with the.
Oh, Hall's got that. Oh, okay.
We've met with them a couple of times.
I think 3 or 4 times. now.
Yeah.
Does it relocate? Does it take it completely out?
It does.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Most of what you're seeing through there, the impacts go far enough to take the entire property on the east side of the road.
Yeah.
Big part of that, we came and visited Lance a couple of weeks ago about this, is access control. And part of that access control involves whether or not we do channelization, similar to what you see on 17, a raised channel to limit, so it's right in, right out only. Right now, most of the people say that the fact that there's so many cars stacked in there, that it's gonna be naturally limited to right in, right out only. But access management does improve safety. It does put together complications with snow removal. And, but the channelization does improve safety, and it does physically limit to where the left on or off can actually happen. So that means.
This project also impacts and is kind of important to note that at the Iona Road intersection there, that becomes a right in, right out as well.
Okay.
And that hopefully that has been a fairly high accident location. And so by again doing this right in, right out along most of these approaches, we're hopefully reducing the amount of accidents that will happen because of those left-hand movements or through movements on Iona Road.
And that goes to a light there?
At Iona Road, at highway, it's not a signal, but at Iona Road and 25th East, it is a signalized
Where
intersection.
that roundabout is now.
Yes.
That'll come out. and go to the
It'll
city.
be phased with the other segment.
Right.
The other thing is that the Iona and hit, I believe is Commissioner Bradford called me on it. phone, read, no,
Walker.
excuse me, Walker, sorry. He called me on the phone here a while back, how to stop sign had been down, and I believe you were, your past job was you a fireman, or?
I was policeman for a while, and then, fireman.
Yeah, he brought up big concerns to that intersection, yeah, fantastic, for sure.
Picked up 3 dead girls there.
So,
We don't care to pick up anymore.
that's
And
gonna
that
be a
stop
big
sign was down,
improvement.
and, yeah, so.
So,
Nice.
You guys had conversations with Karcher Homes,
Parcel Homes, they had called.
and there's a developer down here, Slack Development. I've spoken with both of them.
That's past the railroad track.
It is past the railroad, but I encourage them to reach out with you and discuss, because I think this development here is gonna affect the traffic even more. So I invited them, I just was curious if they'd reached out, I just said it would be good for them to call and chat with you about this project, so that you had their idea of what they were doing.
Yeah, and as I spoke to him, I talked to him about the signal we were putting in there, but I also brought up the fact that from Iona to the railroad tracks is 4 lanes, and we're gonna need some additional property to put
Yeah.
road in, but the county some point may need some additional property to, if you wanted to push that up to a full 5 section.
And when that development happened, we would make sure to get at least the 50-foot from center line on that.
On
portion
that.
of it.
I believe as of right now that the development on this side will go into the city of Van, and the development on the other side will be city of Idaho Falls, so.
And
I
both of those-
didn't know that it was imperative. I really just encouraged them to reach out to you so you guys knew what was going on and could maybe collaborate if you needed to. But
The last that we knew, the Karshner, the one that's on the north side there, that, Lance was saying that they put a preliminary plat.
A while ago, but it's never gone to final, so.
yeah, and I think they're kind of waiting to find out what was going on there, because we had made them dedicate a bunch of extra for the widening of the roundabout.
Well, we were going to make.
That, yeah, and that's what they show on their plat, so I think they're kind of waiting to see how the plans move forward, so.
They said they come down, I think you're at Salt Lake or that
Yes.
area, and they come down to every few weeks. I invited them to get a hold of me and Kelly. They
Okay,
have to sit down with them whenever they're prepared to talk and more about information they need.
perfect.
When do you anticipate this going?
This is 25, is when we're anticipating. That's if funding doesn't change. That's our anticipated.
And this continues to be a driveway, even though it's so close to the,
It'd be limited to right in, right out,
right,
but yeah, it is very close.
it
And
is close.
but for those times that are off peak, it is close, but it's on the trying to think downstream, upstream side. It would have to turn right and make a movement to go just to the south on that direction.
If this goes to light, it's basically just a right on green out of
It
there,
is.
really.
One of the biggest use is just being able to take larger vehicles as a right in, headed south to move through.
Yeah,
And that's, otherwise, I mean, by nature of the traffic itself, it's gonna limit it. And then if we have channelization through there, the left out, so taking or removing that approach would not really improve or decrease safety, I guess, if you know what I mean, so that the elimination of that approach is not an issue.
this approach really isn't effective.
Yeah.
Okay,
Really, the way that it's going to be affected by this project is to make that intersection as traffic grows, make that intersection more efficient, thereby making it more accessible.
yeah. A lot of traffic out in that area right now.
Yeah. With that, it kind of build on a lot of traffic in that area. We wanted to talk to you about that. We also have our project, our program in 2027, US 20 to 26 connector, roughly from Beach Corner out to San Diego. interchange in that area. We want to relocate Route 26 out, and we'd like to relinquish the existing 26 from Woodruff out to Beach's Corner. The county, that's what we're coming here today to see if you people will help us out. We're talking about paying for all of the work on the Hit Road project, which we think is going to be about $15 million. And set down with right-of-way construction costs. And by building that out and relocating this, we was hoping that the county could come in and help us out and agree to take that portion of the roadway back over. Now, we would want to, if we built that road, we wouldn't reimburse the 26 relinquishment because we're investing so much on the Hit Road project. Right.
So you want us to trade you this for that?
That's kind of what we're looking for, is to say, we'll build Hit Road, is to be this dollar amount. You'll have zero paying on that with that portion. But with that, we'd ask you to take over the existing 26. And, you know, there's some good pros to it, is with that, you know, we'll be putting the entire design together, we'll be doing all the right negotiations, we'll be over the construction of the project, and that's something that the counties and Lance's areas that deal with. And those are pretty big, heavy lifts right there in itself. But by doing that, then we'd want to turn that proportion of the over to you guys, if you'd be willing to do that.
So do we currently have the portion south of there? Is that, no, it's all state.
It's all state.
Why would we take just that one section?
Are you talking about from Woodruff?
Yeah,
Because that becomes the city of Bonneville Falls.
the city's gonna take that over?
So 26, this would no longer be a state highway.
It's gonna go.
Yeah,
that plan
go,
would be-
it'd go here, and then here.
Yeah, so as we jump into some of the other projects we're building, we have two alternatives, we're sitting down on I-15 West Point Connector.
Right.
Both of them will be in talks with the city of Bonneville Falls on taking over that portion of 26 within the city limits. So 26 has been bypassed out on the north side of Bonneville Falls.
Okay,
You mentioned the traffic congestion going here. This is gonna help alleviate a lot of truck traffic through Bonneville Falls. It's gonna push it out to the north, and then any traffic heading Jackson, that's gonna help fix what our transportation route is they pull off at, what's it, so 113, and they drive down the old Wilson Highway through Idaho Falls, then on out. This will provide them a path that's more favorable for a truck, and they don't need as much city traffic.
and either option of the I-15 does the same thing?
Either
They
option.
Both are doing the same.
Yep.
Thought, Lance, what's your thoughts?
In the large frame scope of things, getting the highway further out seems to make sense in getting the traffic out and around. It is more road for us to maintain than what we currently have, but it's already an existing roadway. It's already an existing 5-lane roadway. So we don't have to build it out.
So we're trading
We're trading
2-lane, about the same length for a 5-lane.
that's already built, yeah, and it's already up to a highway standard, so the maintenance on it, trade wise, probably makes sense.
So the red, that would be the road.
That would
we
become
don't-
Highway 26.
So is this,
Currently is.
if it appears to me that we're predetermining the fate of I-15.
No,
No, because they all kind of connected to the interchange.
Either-
location.
Either one of the options would end up with Highway 20, this intersection right around this area being redone
Okay,
in roughly the same place.
So how 20 gets to 15 isn't part of.
Isn't part of this discussion, but it is part of the I-15 US 20 study.
regardless of the two alternatives that we have on I-15, this option can still be built. This option actually did come out of the community working group, trucking community says, hey, we're using this road anyway.
Still at the way station.
Yeah. Another direction.
Yeah.
They say the majority of their truck traffic, they run down this road, and they were crossing over a really horrible skewed intersection there. It's probably just as bad a skew as the one.
And this intersection right now, we do have Warrock's working on as a county project to try to do some interim improvements there to help that four-way stop. Because that is another high accident location for us.
The other thing is, you know, we're gonna reduce the bottlenecks here to hit 26, but at some point was the traffic grows, and we talked to this Lance, that road there with the county, I think you guys might want to start considering sometime in the future and upgrade that road in that full capacity, because
That road.
it's just,
It's
49th north.
25th out to,
Well, 25th out
Oh,
to,
yeah, it's taking a tremendous amount of traffic.
yeah,
yeah.
so.
Well, all the way, I mean, all the way out to Highway 20, we probably gotta look at something.
Well-
And this 2026 connector has not, I mean, we've just started to look at some possible alternatives, and it may be on alignment, it may be shifted one way or another. That hasn't been decided.
Okay,
So how those connections happen and how that looks, I mean, those intersections, we'll continue that coordination with you guys.
okay.
And and I hope that the Lance feels this way, we've been pretty proactive as of late with working with the city and the county, and we've invited you guys to a lot of our screening meetings and having input in what was going on there, so I hope that you guys feel like that we've included you know, that ownership and.
Yeah, I think probably the concern from our side is the I-15 change issue and you know, the effect on us, where that goes to Hatch Pit. It's tremendously long-term bill effects for both the city of Idaho Falls and us in a negative way, because the idea of just relocating that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Roger.
I don't have a copy of the map, but I think I've got a pretty good idea. Is what you're looking at is taking 25th to, in the future, to 5 lanes after you do this intersection, and trading us the old Yukon Highway for that. Is that similar to what we did when we got Sunnyside west of Yellowstone built? I think we traded York Road for that part of Sunnyside, and then you guys build it. Okay, because that,
Similar, but it's not 25th east, it's 49th north that is being proposed here.
49th north.
Yes.
I just texted you a picture of the map, Roger, should be coming through.
It's a 2-mile stretch of 49th north from 5th east to Beach's Corner. Would become the roughly where the US 26 would be realigned to.
Oh, okay, that's a little different than I thought. How's that gonna affect Beach's Corner?
We haven't addressed how the connections are all gonna tie together right now. We're just in the concept level, but what we'd have to do is tie all them roads together to make it flow properly, but we're just not deep enough into it to tell you where we're at right now. It's just too far out.
Well, I know we're getting an awful lot of applications for development out in that area. Any guidance?
That's one of the hardest places to figure out, so it's gonna take a lot of work to figure out. That is one of the toughest spots to figure out how to connect. If we were bringing over a connector into 26 and then still the large volume of traffic that's gonna be coming into Idaho Falls. So it may need to be some kind of grade separated, almost an interchange there at Beach's Corner, just to keep the traffic, both of those legs that will, you know, conflict.
Yeah,
And you're looking at it, the kind of the northwest corner. If we get any applications for development out of the northwest corner, that's really, we need to take a very, very hard look at it. Because that's where a lot of improvement would likely have to go.
You're talking west of 35th.
So I'm talking west of Hammond Road, and it's still Hammond Road at that point, but yeah. Or Highway 43,
But the northwest,
but
that's kind of open right now. but
it's more open. There's some county residents and stuff there, but it's much more open than on the east side of Hammond Road out there, where we have just a recent large development.
Every time I drive down through there, I see another development popping up. We're paying attention to it. We hope we can get in there before we impact.
Well, and there's at least the ones that were proposed further east from the current development. We're supposed to have approached ITD about access and stuff on there, and they had a public hearing at P&Z last month.
I have no idea. I've talked to this person.
I couldn't hear that because you had a couple of you talking, but you say that those proposed developments out there have not approached ITD for access?
I have no, they may have, but that's just outside my area. I have to check to see.
Last I talked to Brian Lamro, who does the permits now, they had not talked to him yet.
That's important for us to know.
So
Is it just planted? It's not under construction?
It
Because I know there are some
preliminary.
townhouses.
it's an application.
Yeah.
Which they can't really
We
talk
really
about
can't
because
talk
it's
about
done
it.
before them, so.
Okay,
But it has gone before P&Z.
okay. So we'll keep it on our radar. Brian is the right person to be.
Yeah, we're getting super heavily hit in that area, so if you have any insight at all, input you can submit before their hearing as to what you think is gonna happen out there, we would greatly appreciate it, because we don't. I mean, obviously, prove something out there that could have long-term adverse effects for what you need to do, so.
Okay. We are, we've set up an RFP, or we're in the process of hiring a consultant to help us work through the alternatives and design it,
So we're probably after get some on board to get some preliminary alignments through there. We're probably 6 months away or better from being able to really answer their questions. But as we progress, though, we will be talking to that on a regular basis, and we'll try to come in and give you guys periodical updates to what's going on.
Thank you.
Austin, could you send them the notices of application and see if they want to weigh in formally for the hearing?
Yeah.
Even if it's just explaining where you are, what you've explained today, and what the possibilities are.
How far out is the decision on I-15,
Well,
20?
we have, we're trying to get our NOI approved through federal highway. I think we're close. At that point, then we'll go to one more public meeting. And then we'll have one more screening process, make that decision on, after we take into account what we've heard at the public meeting through the screening process.
Okay.
We'll make that decision and we'll take it to a public hearing. So from the time we sign the NOI, I think we're probably 6 months from being able to tell the public the option we're going to pursue.
Okay. As Commissioner Walker expressed, we're extremely concerned about the hatch pit. So it's something that seems like we deal with weekly is that hatch pit and the capacity that we have there. We're doing everything possible to keep it open as long as we can. And we still, under our current operation, we still have many years there. But, your decision could change that.
As soon as we have an idea, we'll sit down
It'd be,
with you folks.
it'd be really expensive and difficult to move that.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but it'd be a big process. We do.
So once the NOI is signed and it goes out to the public, we'll have an agency scoping meeting, of which Lance would be back involved in that.
Okay.
After that, then there will be a public hearing or a public meeting to take the start of that out. And then following that is likely when that decision.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Anything else? Did
Well,
we cover it all?
I guess, is this something that you guys would be willing to pursue? So
I think it'd be something we'd be willing to consider. Let us get a little more input from Lance.
okay,
And discuss it. I don't know, Lance, unless you want to weigh in on it more heavy right now.
I think if these other improvements happen, it's gonna probably be the direction we need to go. I don't know a way around it. I think that the improvements of getting Highway 26 connected to Highway 20 in a better fashion works better for the region. And so that being taken over as Highway 26 up at a different location. Yeah, it turns into something we probably needed.
What would be the process if we determined to do that? How would it come together?
well, we prepare a memo of understanding of agreements. And, we put it over to you guys to review. You'd also, if you chose to, you'd have to have a public hearing to inform the public that you've taken over that portion of the roadway. And then after you have that hearing, then you can sign that MOU and then it would be an agreement with step one.
When do you think that would happen? Getting it to the point where it's kind of enough of a formal option to go to a public hearing?
I think that if I pursue it, I think I could have the document within a month, at least after you guys reviewing it.
Within a month, you say?
Yeah, even sooner. If I make it a priority, I can make it quicker.
I'd like to see it sooner, because there's a lot of planning that needs to go on out on that intersection, and
Now, this would just be for the relinquishment, as far as the project, as far as, the.
right.
reaches 20, that's gonna take some more time. So, all right.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I agree with Lance. That was a process that worked very well for us to get Sunnyside built from Yellowstone out to the freeway. And it's, as I understand it, your proposal is to take that over as a highway, so you would do the construction of 49th and
Correct.
possibly an interchange depending on the traffic at Beach's Corner.
Some sort of intersection, right now, the budgeting, we don't have it as an interchange. If we did that budget would have to come up substantially, but as we're going through the preliminary design process, we will look at multiple options, and one of them would be included. Whether it makes it through the whole process remains to be seen.
Yeah, I didn't mean an interchange would be the best option, but at least something's gonna have to happen on that intersection.
Yeah, whatever it is, it'll be substantial.
And I was the one that put the word out there of interchange, and I said that because I've looked at it and I've tried to think, okay, how could you handle the traffic? But there's lots of options we still need to pursue. We'll hire that consultant to get working on those alternatives. I'll be back at the table.
It's also how do you connect with US 20 over here too. That's both ends of it. It's got to be tied in with it. And that's why I think that if both of these tie-ins happen, then it makes sense for the county to take over that maintenance. And we're gonna also have to work a little bit with the city of Idaho Falls on how those signals interact with their signals and and stuff like that. That's.
And there's actually four intersections on this. There's one near Beach's Corner, the 25th, 15th, and then US 20. There's substantial amount of intersection.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we'll want to see that as soon as we can.
Yeah, we'll be glad to show it to you.
Well,
So what I'll do is I'll start getting the agreement ready. If you want me to hand it off to Lance first, and then I'll go through the rules on relinquishment to make sure that we're following the rules properly. Don't get ourselves in trouble.
All right, sounds good.
I think it's been really helpful for you guys to give us the heads up this far. Because a lot of times if we're not aware of something, we make decisions that's going to complicate what you do and make it much more expensive in the future.
Absolutely. I think that if we're working with the city and county on a regular basis, I think that the infrastructure build out's gonna be a lot better planned, it's gonna move smoother, and it's definitely gonna be less expensive than us having to, if we do something that costs you money to relocate or vice versa. I think if we're all in this together, we're gonna get a lot better infrastructure placed in the field, it's gonna serve the taxpayers better.
Okay,
Do you have a card?
I do.
Just so I can get your email to send you those developments that are going on that day.
They're larger copies of the same things that I, just so that if you want to put it on the table, kind of throw,
that's
sometimes
right.
they're easier to point to.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. We'll get Roger here and we'll go over. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Ms. Taylor, would you like to join us at the table here?
yeah, that's true.
Well, I think your agenda has something about the 45th East Widening.
Well, we have some right of way contracts,
Right.
but those are specific to certain individual parcels.
Right.
And not a whole.
Well, and I guess the reason that I came is that we're just looking for any sort of public meeting to figure out kind of the bigger picture of what's happening. You know, we've had people show up from Boise doing an
Right away
appraisal.
negotiator and agents and the appraisal people are out of this.
Right. And I just want to talk to my local people at Bonneville County to understand what's happening on the road. It's literally my front yard and we don't know a timeline. We just want information and,
So the
raise
overall
other
project,
neighbors.
we're planning on widening out close to 3 miles of road. We're looking at a 5-lane road section from First Street north to Lincoln. From Lincoln Road further north, next 2 miles, it'll neck down to a 3-lane section of road. We're gonna have curb, gutter, and a pathway along both sides of the road through that section.
Well, part of the section, because my neighbor's house is in the way of the pathway.
This is yours, right?
Well, it's hard to tell because the county, you don't have our proper name on the GIS.
Yeah,
Our neighbor, it still looks like our neighbor owns our house, our property.
and we were asked GIS and stuff to look into that and fix it. But
I got to for 3 years. But really, what's the process so that people who are affected know what's going on besides people just showing up at our house saying, I'm an appraiser here and construction's happening? Isn't there a way to have some sort of I'm just listening to your previous person and there's public meetings and hearings and
those are
comments.
federally funded projects. This one is a self-funded project. And so the requirements for those public hearings are not the same as dealing with federal funding.
I guess I'm here suggesting that even if it's not required, it's not a good idea.
Well, so we missed a step somewhere. I mean, obviously you feel like you haven't been informed.
Right, we haven't.
We have not held public hearings on the 45th widening project. There were no public hearings done. It was just, we looked at the information we had roundabout at 45th or 45th and First Street. And after we did the Lincoln Road project, we looked at the traffic volumes and the county commissioners said, we need to do something with 45th East.
Right.
And that is the direction we.
It's just the process we follow on all the roads, right? I mean, we don't have a public hearing when we determine the road, Lincoln or anywhere else is got to be wide. But you do hear about it if there's right-of-way access, you know, or.
Right, and I got an offer to come buy my property, but I don't have anything about timelines or closing dates or construction or access to my house during construction or there's just a lot of information that I think, and just because you're not required to have a meeting, I'm just suggesting it's nice.
It's a good point, yeah.
It's a good idea to bring in, you know, the citizens of the county who will be impacted and include them maybe in the bigger picture rather than just.
It's a good point.
Because we're all kind of asking each other what's going on and no one really knows.
Yeah.
So we're scouring all of the agendas looking for anything that says 45th so we can show up to understand what's going on. So it might just be nice to have some sort of a hearing or a meeting so we can ask some questions and understand.
I'm expected to get about a 60% level set of improvement drawings in June from JEP. The right-of-way agents have contacted roughly half of the parcel owners. There's close to 80 parcel owners along the stretch that we've got to reach out to. The timeline for that is going to be through the summer, working with the parcel owners on these appraisals and the offers and coming back. And so we're hoping as far as getting a final set of plans by roughly September to what's going to happen, going out to bid for the project in November and hoping to construct in 2023.
And maybe the best process would be when we get those plans to then have it on our agenda and have a bit of a public meeting. I think the time to do it is during Road and Bridge. It's not going to require a hearing.
Well,
There's not a decision that we've got to make. We've got to like-
I have a decision I have to make if I'm going to sell, you know,
Right.
I got an offer to sell with a friend in my yard and we just barely finished the, you know, constructing our asphalt or driveway. They've already taken my cute little ditch, but anyway.
You know,
So-
can I interrupt a little? Because we kind of drift into areas, and this is why the commissioners usually don't get involved in these hearings, because if it does come to eminent domain, we have to deal with it, and we can't be talking about particular properties and values and things like that. Unfortunately.
I understand that, and I really was just here to listen to what was happening on the agenda, but.
I would
what-
suggest getting the group of neighbors that you have together and setting up a meeting and maybe inviting Lance out there so he can explain what's going on.
Right, yeah, but that's what I'm here, is to find out who we can talk to, how we can get information and get some questions answered before we.
You would do that through Lance.
And I have talked with a number of your residents out there, and I think I've talked with you too about individual areas.
Yeah, I don't know what I talked to.
But if that's something that we want to get a group meeting together, I can get JP there and we can go over the plans that we have as far as the overall scope.
I think it would probably be useful to just communicate, give an update on where things are and where they're gonna go and maybe what the timeline's gonna be, just because then they know that.
Well, I mean, we live in Bonneville County, so I want to talk to Bonneville County about what's happening, not an engineer who really doesn't have anything at stake except that that's his job is to make the plans. I kind of want to talk to.
Right.
It's part of the community, we want what's best for the community, but we want to be able to have kind of a bigger picture and have those conversations.
Sounds like Roger Roger's suggestion's a good one.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to cross lines on. things we're not
No, and
supposed to
it's
talk about.
just where we are with things and what the process is and where we're going. It's nothing that gets in the way
So how about
of.
this?
Okay,
With the 60% of the plans, we're going to be closed there in probably June. So how about we look at, get a hold of me in the first part of July and we can set up a time. and-
Well, I don't want to work with a negotiator until we know what's happening. And that makes sense.
And if that's fine, if that's what you
Well,
want
you
to
wanna,
do.
you wanna have a meeting sooner than that and talk about the plans that we have right now?
We're only got about 30% set of plans, and so
So it's more of a watercolor picture. As opposed to.
But you're under no time, they're under no time frame to sell.
no,
their
there's
property
no
now.
specific time frame to get back. We're hoping that most of these will happen over the course of the summer, and by September, October, we'll have most of them wrapped up. But there's no, you have 30 days to do this and get back to me.
Well, that's good to know that.
It sounds like that late June, July will still give you plenty of time to make a decision on, once you see the plans, the bigger scope.
Yeah, if we have that much time.
Color book drawing, or do you want to look at something that is more accurate and has a little more detail?
Whatever is available.
Color books available now.
Right.
So,
And we've
just
seen
go
some of
color.
it, and some of it's kind of confusing, the way it's laid out right now.
Well, and that's what happened last service, so it's explain the pictures. So that makes sense,
Okay.
but I know, contract there has a good facility and we're happy to.
And we can even have it at our house, whatever we used to, but, I know there's a,
They have whiteboards.
well, what do I call it then, Darrell?
My daughter's phone, she's dancing.
That's a good idea. So really, I was just here to gather information and figure out. So we could, so June, and I call you.
The last end of June is when I'm expecting the calling, so yes, you can call me. And I'm at Road Bridge, and it's on the county website, 529-490.
And your Lance.
And
And if my parcel ownership is wrong, who do I talk to? It's like, I already talked to the assessor's office, and then talked to GIS, and then talked to the building department.
You've talked to all the people that you need to. Would you bring up that the county website, county map?
Our
There's
tax
law.
bill's getting to us.
That's what they've got to write.
Yeah.
Somehow we're
But you
paying.
want to make sure you're paying property tax on your property, right?
Right. And I don't know what confusion it might cause, but, it's just showing our neighbor owns our lot.
We talked about that. I think we talked about that before.
We
too,
did, it
didn't we?
didn't get fixed yet.
Really?
45th East, north of First Street.
No,
So my answer on
It's
this-
our speedy internet here.
right there.
This is where it's showing you, and this is your neighbor.
That's
And
me.
it's showing you, yeah.
That should
This
be
is,
me.
this is Taylor, and this is Howard.
Why
Right.
hasn't that been fixed? We will get that fixed right away.
Okay. Thank you.
What's that parcel number? That one. 02 North 38 East.
133623.
33623.
And 133620.
And the address is, that's our address. but that's not our parcel. So I don't know how it messed up.
I'm gonna walk her over
I'll call Trish. So this is done.
I'd suggest calling Dustin. Because this is one we talked about once before that was going to be fixed.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's in that bottleneck that we've talked about over in the assessor's office.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, thanks for looking at that. And really, I didn't mean to interrupt your meeting. I just was coming
You didn't
to
at all.
listen to anything we could learn about what was happening.
is there anything you want to tell us about the senator,
Well, it's Support Local Gems Week, it's National Small Business Month, or National Small Business Week. So, we're really just doing a campaign to get people in Idaho to go frequent our local small businesses. So if the county wants to join in getting the word out to support small business, that'd be great. So this Friday it's called Support Local Gems Day. And that day, hopefully everyone will get out and buy something at a small business and really make a big difference and to let them know that we support them.
okay,
So
thank
there's
you.
that. Is there anything you want to know about what's happening in DC right now?
After the election's over.
Yeah.
I hope the control gets in the right hands. after November.
There is a lot of hope
Yeah.
for something different in the next Congress.
Yeah, because we have a lot of messes right now in this country. Probably worse than I've ever seen it in my lifetime as far as just a lot of concerns out there in the world.
There's a
So,
lot of, the economy's hurting everyone.
yeah, for sure. All right,
Okay, well, thank you.
we'll get this problem
Okay.
fixed, and please make sure you get the information you need.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we'll just set up a meeting. I think that will help.
sorry you
My neighbors
kept
have
me
like
there.
10 or 20 questions.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
What are the documents, Lance, on DocuSign? Are
Those
those,
are the findings of fact and conclusions of law from last week's public hearings.
okay, that's probably going to be John and Brian that signs those because I wasn't involved in those.
Yeah. So we'll go to those next. We've got those. Or do you want to start? Pardon me?
They're on DocuSign.
Oh, they're on doc.
We have a hard copy here if you want to look at them, but they are on DocuSign.
I've kind of waited because I wanted to. Now, this is the ordinance. So let's take that first.
The ordinance is the road name change.
Okay. And it's on DocuSign as well? Okay.
Okay, now, did you already hold that hearing?
No, for the ordinance for the name change.
Right.
Do the ordinance first and then you have the hearing afterwards.
Okay, but that's a hearing for today, right?
It's not a hearing. There's an ordinance for today,
Okay.
but it gets published after it's signed.
There will be no hearing on the road, the name
Okay,
change.
that's outside of the findings of fact then.
Yes.
So if these guys vote for it, I'll sign it.
So, and the findings of facts, I guess I'd just like to review quickly.
Okay.
The conclusion on each one. Which one do you want to take first?
So take the Marlona one first.
Okay.
So the conclusion on that one was it was not going to harm the county or Rocky Mountain Power or any utilities. And so it was in order to go ahead and vacate that 6 foot of the 12-foot easement on the portion that's owned by Danny Snyder.
Okay, and that's what he was asking for in his
Yes.
petition. Okay. And the one on Doug Andrews Drive?
One on Doug Andrews Drive was, it was ordered to vacate the existing plat that would allow them to replat with smaller lots than the initial.
Right, there was no problem with
That
that.
was no problem with that, no adverse effect to the county.
Right.
The third one was a order to deny the request because it has to be relinquished directly from Rocky Mountain Power.
Okay. So we denied it. Right?
We're going to deny it because we don't have any authority to grant it based on it being granted specifically to Rocky Mountain Power to that owner.
Yeah, this one I was confused why it even came.
There's a very little small portion of it that is within public right of way. And I think that's why it ended up getting there, but most of the time, if you look at our stuff, they're requesting to vacate an easement. Well, okay, it's an easement, we're requesting to vacate it, but it wasn't a public utility easement to the public, it was specifically granted one person.
Okay,
There's a little bit of gray area there.
well, I agree with all these. I assume Commissioner Walker does as well. And we'll get them signed, Roger, and then if you want to sign on, or if you just want us to sign them, we'll do that. We'll ask you to make sure you sign the ordinance for the name change on the road. We'll get that done as well. Then what will be the process, Taylor? Then you'll get it recorded, and then it goes to Dustin's office after that. Okay. Okay. Okay.
The last thing on the agenda that we had was right-of-way contracts. I do have 3 of them. The one specifically mentioned is Parcel 18, but it's along 45th East. It does call for a signature, not 3 signatures.
Okay.
So, and it doesn't need to be attested by the county clerk.
Is that on DocuSign, or do you just want
They are
to?
not on DocuSign.
Yeah, just have Brian or John do it where you only need one and you can attest.
Okay. So there's Parcel 18.
I'm going to step away for a second while you're doing that, but before you're done, I got a couple things I want to visit about.
Okay.
So that's a warranty, you don't have a meeting signature. Let's keep them, I want to keep them as much together as I can.
Okay.
Yeah, mix them around.
When we're signing those, I called the ITP guys out, and they said that Jefferson County's having the same kind of calls about Jake breaks. And Jefferson County is just getting ready to do a countywide Jake break.
Oh,
New trucks don't need it, they don't use it. They want a completely different braking system, so the issue is with the old trucks, that we need for short run local stuff, most of all rock. Yeah, at night.
How many parcels does that complete?
Just 3,
And we've got how many? 80?
approximately 80.
Okay.
We're off to a good start.
Well, we're planning early, so I hope, so we can possibly get them all done.
You had any hard no's yet?
What?
There have been only about 20 offers. I think, no. 11, 12 offers actually go out to the owners. And that's what I emailed you a couple weeks ago, that out of the 11 or 12, the compensation so far is over $366,000.
That's 1270 or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get on DocuSign and sign. We need to sign these findings of fact and the ordinance name change.
Lance, did you have anything else on there?
I think we covered everything that was on the agenda.
The Ninth West, has the city ever contacted you about that developer out there accessing through Ninth West to start building that road?
That is part of the Ivywood West subdivision, and
Right.
they are, so they've contacted as far as, they sent me copies of the traffic impact study. And they said, comment back on it if you have any comments, which I have multiple times. About 9th and 12th and 8th and the connections therefore. Also Montezuma connecting out to 5th and 15th.
Have you discussed our current access permit policy with them?
I have briefly discussed it with Kent, but I have not gone over it in depth with Kent or Terry.
Maybe this would be the time to do that and kind of let them know that, you know, there is a potential of kind of red tagging that. If they don't, you know, provide a safe access to a county street or road.
Okay.
I had hoped, you know, that you mentioning it a few times would just kind of bring them to cooperate a little more, but it doesn't sound like it's doing it. So you might have to go to the next level.
Seen the permit application yet.
Yeah, just tell them you haven't got a permit application because it's required of
Been watching
every
for it.
developer, you know?
Yeah.
The informal agreements are probably a thing of the past.
Okay, I will see if I can do a little bit more on that. So.
Okay. As soon as you can, because it sounds like they're under full steam ahead, and that developer needs to understand that. You know, they've said several times that they would during the platting process have them mitigate those, and I don't see anything happening to do that again.
Yeah, I don't either, and so another version of the traffic impact study back. So if they're actually moving dirt out there, they are doing it without any permissions because they haven't got the traffic impact study approved yet.
Well, now might be the time to give them a formal notice of that.
Okay. I will do so.
Okay, that's all I had.
You wanna talk at all about that development agreement for the Gateway plat, Roger, what you found out from Scott?
Did you get a chance to look at that?
I looked at the Watts development agreement this morning and I couldn't find the specific language. I might have to have Scott point it out to what he was
Okay.
referring to.
I did visit with Scott, about if that's enforceable, if we'd had a development agreement, and he said, yes, it is. If you put the enforcement in the impact area that in the development agreement, anybody that is going to access that street, and they'd have to spell it out just like they did with the sewer, would be required to pay a frontage foot fee to hook onto that street.
And put that specifically in the development agreement as a special. Does he have specific wording that would hold up? That we can,
Well, there is one in the sewer agreement, but that was for sewer. And I said, does that work for public roads? And he said, yes. And he said, Ammon, and you might reach out to Micah, has a couple of copies, or they've been doing that lately. And so they have some language that way. And then we'd probably want to record that development agreement so that anybody that either purchases Cromwell's property or Cromwell's, and I guess they've got the numbers. Was it you, Austin, telling me that they've got the numbers calculated on what that would be?
Yeah, Devin told me and Lance last week in our meeting that he's already figured out what the cost would be, and it's
supposedly,
yeah, we haven't seen the numbers, but supposedly.
Just throw out a lot of, he's figured it out.
Yeah,
right?
tell him we need specific numbers with documentation to put it in a development agreement, so we kind of had to work with Stafford on that a little bit too, so they don't put a lot of blue sky in it. So it's just a reflection of exactly what it costs, and I'm guessing it'll reflect the $6 per square foot that they had to pay for the property that sits under it.
Well, we can send an email to Micah and see if we can get a copy of the ones he's been doing. I did see those special conditions in the lots development agreement, so it could be just similar to what that wording was, just different.
Right.
Might have to change a little bit for the roadways, so.
Yeah, the Watts one was very mushy.
Yeah, it's kind of, I couldn't get exactly out of it where they were trying to get with it, so.
Well,
Micah knows better.
theirs was a little different because it wasn't as specific as a front foot. It was a graduated calculation that, you paid a higher percentage the farther upstream you were because you used more of the pipe.
Right.
So it was complicated. This will be a matter of if they hook onto that, there's X number of dollars per front foot.
Okay. I think if we can get a price out of Devin for. It is gonna be based on the square footage of a lot that is accessing the road.
Well, it's whatever.
Frontage of the
Frontage.
lot action.
Right.
So if we go frontage, I can see that turning into a weird thing when somebody flats a narrow neck and then it widens out.
Well,
Because that game's been played before.
yeah, well, maybe, yeah, because I guess we're working under the assumption that the whole property. No, yeah, just figure out something that's fair.
Okay, we'll work on something.
Okay. And then I'll give you a call, Austin. I've got some thoughts after that meeting with the state.
Yeah, me too.
So, but we better not discuss that. You can talk to the others, their thoughts later.
Okay, sounds good.
So, all right, thanks.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.